I grew up in a spiritual house. So the spiritism in my family starts with my grandfather, when he was 10. So that would have been, I don't know, 1920s, 1940s, something like that. And it's been through my family for whole, my mom's childhood and then my childhood. So our meeting family, usually we have a reunion once a year, and in those reunion, the spirits will come through of our ancestors and they will talk with us. So the spirits coming through was quite common in my family. So I moved to Australia in 2000, and I started doing some studs because I'm grew up in a cardiac line. So I've been studying spiritism pretty much all my life. And I was here and get older and hearing lots of stories in my family about people going to Palmelo to have surgery for all sorts of illnesses. I decided to go this year to Palmelo, which is a small town in northeast of Brazil, that it was created through a spiritual church. So it was a farm, and the medium live in the farm, and people start coming to get and not to cure, and then became quite famous. So my experience there was pretty amazing. I felt like I was literally in a surgery. I felt the spirits. I saw the spirits coming and proceeded the surgery, and yeah, and my pain really improved since. You can ask more questions later if you want more details. And then because Palmelo is in the state of Goiás, I end up going to visit the mental health spiritual or psychiatry spiritist hospital in Goiânia. And that was very interesting because I'm a mental health nurse, and I never seen the patients so calm and connecting with the nurses and the doctors. The way the doctors approach the patients were very different the way that I'm used to in Australia. And it really, I felt that I was in a hospital that was spiritually protected during the whole time. So they start the morning with the normal hospital procedure with medication. Then they have pray. So the consumers or the patients are invited to pray, to study the gospel according to the Spiritism. And then they are allowed to talk about Spiritism. They are allowed to discuss about Spiritism with the nurses, with the doctors. The doctors saw it's a very hot weather there because it's northwest Brazil. So the doctors do the assessments in the back garden. It's like under trees on a pergola with surrounded by lots of mango trees. So it was really impressive. They have a little farm where the patients help with the farm. So they milk the cow. They have plants. So everything that's produced in their little farm that the patients may help, that's voluntary, they can help or not. It is used in a hospital. It is very poor. It is certainly like a resource, but the spirituality, the how the patients are interacting with each other, the recovery it seems much quicker and is much more peaceful than normal psychiatric hospital I've been to. The medication, it is much less. They do use it the same as we use here, similar type of medication, but their recovery in acute stage is much quicker than I'm experiencing in Australia. So it was, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your operation and what you were able to see as a medium?
Through my operation, about an hour. So in Pomelo, the Spiritist Center operates educated mediums, and then the hotels or around the Spiritist Center becomes like a hospital, becomes the hospital. So the mediums come to the hotel and do the operation. So my operation day, an hour prior to the operation, when I went to my room, I saw the spirits coming, two nurses, a male and a female, one side of my bed, another side of my bed. I start feeling very sedated, and I felt like they're putting some tubes through my back. And then about 5 or 10 minutes later, I saw more spirits coming. And then because I'm a nurse, I was very curious to see what they're doing. And so that stage, they said to me, look, you can't be conscious. We're going to just take you out now because you're not allowed us to do the surgery. So it took me out a little bit. Then I came back and I felt those tubes chewing on me for about 24 hours. And I felt very sedated, despite not having had any sedation, of course. I felt pain and sore in the area. Pretty much I've done surgeries before. It was very similar to a normal surgery in a matter here.
I mean, that's fairly incredible that you're actually able to see the spirits were you able to see the spirit doctors who are operating on you?
No, I saw the nurses, I saw the spirits, but it was just at that time when the spirits come to do the surgery, that's where the nurses said to me, you can't be seen, because I was too curious. I was probably interfering, asking them what kind of equipment they're doing, what they're doing, what's this tube, and yeah. But I saw the nurses coming through, and I talked to them as they are putting the tubes through my back for back surgery.
Did you see any machinery that they had?
I did. It has two big machineries that I don't recognize in the earth, kind of greenish. So it looks a little bit for like hemodialysis machine, something like that. But it's something that I never seen before. One in each side of my bed, with some big tubes coming through each of them and connect them to my back.
I mean, this is pretty incredible information. I've never heard of anybody who was able to see the spirit side of a spiritist operation like this. And tell me afterwards, did you feel just to make it clear to everybody, you didn't have anything happen to you from the physical side? You didn't have any pain relief given to you?
No, I didn't take any pain relief at all. And literally an hour prior to the surgery, I went to my room and I just pray, and I suddenly felt very sedated. My sister was with me. That's a good detail. My sister had a completely different experience than mine. And actually I thought I need to go to the toilet before the surgery. So to get up at the bed, to go to the toilet, my sister has to help me because I was very sedated. And I didn't have any painkiller, not in any. I just took my normal medication that I took for other stuff, but no medication, nothing, just water. I did have water in a room.
And how did you feel after the operation? Did it take some time to recover?
Yeah, for me, it looks like there's a lot of people. It was 20 people operating a hotel. It was only a few people seems to have bigger surgeries. So the people who has bigger surgeries, the ones who usually stays longer in a room, isolated, and we take longer to recover. So past the first 24 hours, I felt pain, I felt tired, I felt sedated. The local pain where the operation was, it was not intense, and it was not intense enough to be able to take painkiller, but I could feel that it was being manipulated. I felt nauseous. I I vomited the first, in the second day, first 24 hours. I felt like the pause up. What else? I couldn't eat. I was very nauseous for 48 hours. I couldn't walk. I was walking very slowly, like a post-surgery, post-abdominal back surgery. If I tried to walk fast, it would hurt. And I was like that. So after 24 hours, improved, but I was in a hotel for 5 days. Those first 3 days, it was slowly. It was like recovering for a surgery. So it was hurting if I walked too fast, or I was not able to eat proper food. I was eating just soup, and even the soup, I was feeling a bit nauseous.
Wow. So were you aware the medium would come into the mediums came? Did you have one medium or two mediums who actually trans?
Yeah, that's right. So prior to the surgery, you do a little pray, and then you wait for the mediums to come. I was in a room with my sister. So my bed, it was one in the foot, one in the head, and one in the side. So it was 3 mediums on me and 3 mediums on my sister, who was next door to me. And they don't touch you, they just puts hands up. And I did see a little bit of energy, or I did see hands manipulating my back, but that's the only thing I did see. And they spend about 5-10 minutes, and then they'll tell you that the surgery has been completed and the recommendations post-operation, which is stay in your room, don't do any physical exercise, eating light food, drink plenty of water. And then every night, a medium from the hotel, 3 mediums from the hotel comes and do a hands-on passive, which is healing.
Right. Emma, is this consistent with what you've experienced in Brazil?
Well, my interest was very much in the psychiatric hospitals, and still is. And in terms of what I'm hearing now, I actually have been to Palmello. I was aware of this kind of thing going on, but I wasn't tracking with the patients who were getting this kind of care. Because when I went there, there was in Palmello, there was a Spiritist psychiatric hospital there.
Yeah.
And I put most of my attention on that. And I made note to myself that if I had any kind of physical difficulty and I needed to have surgery, I might go back to Palmello. So I got all those contacts for myself and to benefit others if they asked. But Palmello no longer has a Spiritist psychiatric hospital. I think it was a funding matter more than anything else. And so my focus has been a little bit different than what Helen's focus has been, but in the same town. And also I take people to Goiânia, to the very same hospital that Helen went to, Euripides Barçanufo.
Yes, that's right.
So anyway, we have some similar experiences, but not all exactly the same.
I just think it's fascinating to hear from somebody who's had that spirit operation and how it works. Louis Sergio, have you experienced this, or have you? For those of you who don't know, Louis is very involved in Radio Kardec, and he teaches spiritism in Brazil. Louis?
Well, yes. Actually, my mother, as a medium, worked for a hospital, a psychiatric hospital here in Belo Horizonte called André Luiz Hospital, a very famous, well-known hospital. It's not as natural as this place Helen's talking about. Is more within the big city hospital. But of course, many things were involved in the treatment, because many spiritist centers, they had a kind of spiritual connection with the hospital, because when the treatment was to be held in a more serious and psychiatric way, many times the patient that was in the spirit release mediumship circle, they were assigned to go to the hospital. And my mother worked with what was his name? The name of the doctor of André Luis. Remember, Jaider, Dr. Jaider, and the Spiritist, a very well-known Spiritist psychiatrist in Belo Horizonte. And there are lots of stories, very beautiful ones about this hospital, about the situation, and the doctors who worked there with mediums. And until today, for example, right now, 2 of our students, they are medicine students, they are watching you, and they have just finished a training course at the psychiatrist hospital of André Luis here in Belo Horizonte, right? And they found it amazing, right? Because it's a mix of medicine, psychiatry, spirituality, medium mystic circles, and what is more important, they see the evidence. The evidence of the results of the treatment, the evidence of how things happen. And this is a very strong basis for them to believe, to understand spirituality.
Helen, just in summary, we're going to have to hand over to Emma fairly soon. So I'm just quickly comparing the treatment that you had there with your you're very versed in Western medical treatment. What were the advantages why did you travel from Australia to Brazil to have this surgery rather than have surgery here?
Because I've been to several doctors, and above they all said to me there's nothing they could do, and I have a debilitating pain in my back. And I remember my family, my mother and my aunt. My mother has lived in this town when she was about 10 years old. So I just thought that it could be something spiritual, and that the doctors in the Western wouldn't be able to fix. So that's why I think, because I tried everything in West medicine. I did surgery, I did several things in my back and never resolved. So interesting, my back is not completely gone, but is much more manageable. I reduced my medication by half now. And my sister, who has the surgery with me, is the same. She has a similar experience. The pain that she has osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis. So she has pain all over her body, and she felt the same. The pain has not gone completely. It's only 3 months now. They say takes about 6 months, but she reduced a lot in a functional level. So we can function much better now.
Now tell me, did you have to pay for the surgery?
Everything's free. We have to pay for the hotel, where you stay in a hotel, the food, but everything else is free.
Right. Okay. Well, that's pretty. And can people from overseas go and have this surgery here? Is it only for people from Brazil?
No, anywhere in the world can go. The difficulty, as Emma knows, is the language. But if you have anyone that has a Brazilian with them that can speak the language, you don't really need to speak. But it would be good to explain to what. Just to explain yourself, really.
And Emma, it's been wonderful. And of course, we're going to be talking with you again in a few weeks' time.